Before I start the actual review, I'd just like to say a few things. First off, while I will bring up the TCG this game is simulating, for the most part this game will be about Master Duel and the features it provides. The last thing I want to do is make this more about the Yu-Gi-Oh trading card game as opposed to Master Duel itself, so I'll save my thoughts on the TCG for another video, because I have a lot to say about it. Secondly, I'd like to apologise in advance if I make any mistakes or, if I get anything wrong or if I just miss out some crucial information. And last and certainly not least, this video is my opinion. While it may contain some objective points here and there, the majority of the video is just my subjective view on the matter. So yeah, please bear that in mind. Okay, with all that out of the way, let's actually begin. Master Duel was released in January 2022 and is Konami's official answer to the free-to-play digital card game craze that started somewhere around the mid-2010s. Master Duel is an interactive simulation of the popular Yu-Gi-Oh trading card game, which was established in the late 90s and saw Western popularity somewhere around the early 2000s, me being one of the people who was fascinated by the concept. Apart from a handful of teaser trailers which were published in 2021, there was little to no promotional material marketing for the game. Hell, I don't think they even confirmed a release date. Master Duel came out on multiple platforms: PC, Switch, the Xbox series of consoles, PlayStation 5 and mobile mainly. In just 3 weeks, it was downloaded 10 million times, and more recently, in mid-March 2022, it reached 20 million downloads. Not only that, but it also was responsible for Yu-Gi-Oh's spike in popularity, becoming the most searched card game on Google at one point, surpassing the #1 searched card game and competitor Magic the Gathering. So the real question is Master Duel worth playing? Does it set the new high standard for DCGs? Or is it another case of Hearthstone syndrome? Well, if there's one aspect of the game Konami nailed, was Master Duel's presentation and sound design. So yeah, prepare for a lot of positivity in the next section or two. The menus are well organised and neatly arranged, making it easy to navigate. I do like the interface's digital futuristic appearance, and the game in general runs smoothly, on PC anyway, and mobile devices when set to recommended settings. Sadly though, I can't quite say the same thing about the Switch version, where there were stuttering and lower frame rates. The sound effects, like synthetic bleeps and bloops that you hear when you click an option, is also fitting with the aesthetics. The music is fantastic. It's very dramatic with the epic choirs and orchestral string sections. I think it's up there with Forbidden Memories when it comes to Yu-Gi-Oh OSTs, giving off real Egyptian vibes, which is appropriate as the original anime series is inspired by ancient Egyptian history. One nice little touch is when you're playing the matches and the compositions intensify as a player gets closer to defeat or summons a boss monster onto the field, or even by just making the first attack during the duel. There's a range of 3D mates you can have in the duel, which range from popular monsters like Dark Magician, to spell cards like Pot of Greed, and to objects like cars and boxing gloves. You could click on them to play their animations. Gives you something to do whilst you're waiting for your opponent to finish their turn. You can also do the same with the environments, like if you click one of those mausoleums, Ritual Raven I think it is, pops out. So yeah, the game looks aesthetically good overall. They do a good job at making sure everything is clearly labelled and organised well during the duels. For example, the game does a good job at tracking every single move that goes on in the game, thanks to the battle log. Then there are the graphics and helpful visuals during duels. Hell, the game even remembers which cards have been revealed from the opponent's hands, which can be quite handy. Pressing down on the I button on the bottom right of the screen during the duel highlights all the link arrows, the tokens on the board, etc., which is also very helpful. Overall, the game is easy to control thanks to the whole layout of each duel. When a card glows blue, it means you can summon it or do anything like that. If it glows yellow, that means you can activate an effect or special summon it. Cards can be played by either dragging them onto the relevant monster zone, or you can just click the cards to present all the possible options for that card. A player's field becomes more damaged as they lose life points, and lethal blows are dealt in slow motion and with a loud boom sound, making each duel end in a cinematic fashion. I like that. Now, I won't be going too in depth about the TCG's rules. As mentioned earlier in the video, that would take a while, and I want this to be more about Master Duel itself. So to quickly summarize, both players start with 8,000 life points. It's your objective to reduce the opponent's life points to 0. You do this by playing monsters in attack position and attacking directly at them. They could defend by playing monsters themselves, and you can't attack them directly until you destroy their monsters. You can also use spells and traps to help you out, by preventing your opponent from attacking, bringing back monsters from your graveyard. As mentioned, I don't want to go into too much. play monsters, attack opponent, reduce life points to 0. And it's not just the in-game options either. You can go to the settings menu, which is comprised of a variety of helpful tweaks like showing card information as they're played or not. Or you can make your set cards transparent so you can see what they are at a glance. You can skip special summon animations if you want to. You can also right-click during gameplay to skip the activation notifications too. These notifications can also be set to automatic, on, or switched off entirely if you want to. Automatic is very similar to on though. I tend to leave it on auto. The computer does a reasonable job of only showing you the notifications best suited for the situation. Although the game will tell you can activate something when it would actually jeopardize your strategy. But hey, there's the off option anyway. In the settings, you can even let the AI automatically place the cards you want to summon or play on an empty zone on your behalf. However, I don't recommend this setting as some cards are best utilized when placed on specific zones like Infinite Impermanence or when using Link monsters. So, what modes are in Master Duel? Well, there's Solo Mode, which is a campaign organized into gates. Each gate is themed around an archetype like Monarchs, Lightsworn, yugioh for example. Gates consist of a collection of chapters. Chapters come in different forms. Scenario is a PowerPoint presentation which provides the archetype's backstory and lore for those interested. Not me though, I tend to skip those sequences. You're not really missing out too much. Practice provides you an example duel, which starts off with a paragraph or two which summarizes the archetype's unique playstyles. A duel chapter is a match against an AI opponent. You can choose to either use a pre-made deck or your own custom deck in a duel. Each option gives you a reward for winning it. The goal is a closing PowerPoint similar to scenario chapters. Then there are these gate chapters within the gate, which can only be unlocked by using orbs. Orbs are an in-game currency exclusive to Solo Mode. Opening the gate chapter in the gate will unlock extra duels for extra rewards after reaching the goal chapter. Orbs are obtained as a reward for some of these chapters. Other rewards for completing chapters include gems, cards, accessories, and legacy packs. We'll talk more about those later. Regardless of victories or losses, you gain experience for your profile level after every duel. Gain enough experience and you level up your profile level, unlocking a reward, usually in the form of gems. For the most part, the loner decks could be buffed, but they're not too bad. Fortunately, the game has nothing to hide, as it allows you to look at your opponent's deck and your loner deck before you start the duel chapter. For the most part, it's all good, with new gates being announced and added onto the game in future patches. However, there is the SP deck challenges, which is a long line of duel chapters, with each duel chapter being loosely based on a match in the anime. For example, the first one is based on the duel between Yami Yugi and Weevil, and then a few duels later you have a duel chapter which is loosely based on Joey Wheeler versus Bandit Keith. These feel very unbalanced. The best evidence is in the very last duel chapter of the SP deck challenge, where if you choose the loner deck option, your loner deck is a gadget/level deck, a lackluster one of that, whilst your opponent has a XYZ Magician deck where they're able to summon a bunch of 2000 plus attack beatsticks as if there was no tomorrow. I would even go as far as say it's just downright unfair. If you actually manage to beat this loner deck duel, you deserve a fucking medal, man. I believe there was not enough playtesting when it comes to the loner deck side of these duels. I'm guessing they rushed this out so players would have enough to do before the new gates arrive. I like how in the description for the SP deck challenges section, they declare the rewards you get from those duels as spectacular rewards, when I'd say at least 90% of them are legacy packs. As I said earlier, we'll talk about them later. Also, for that very last duel in that gate, they called the Dark Magician deck Dark Spellion deck, which was new to me. However, a few days later, they released a patch which changed this Dark Spellion terminology to Dark Magician, which is better. For those who want to battle against actual human opponents, there's Duel Mode, aka Online Mode, aka Ranked Mode. This is a competitive ladder mode where you win matches against other players to increase your rank. Moving up a rank gives you a reward, usually gems. There are 5 ranks per tier, except Rookie tier, which only has 2 ranks. There are 5 tiers in total. The tiers are Rookie, Bronze, Silver, Gold, and finally the highest of them all, Platinum. There was a little bit of controversy surrounding reaching Platinum 1. New season, you are bunked down to the lowest rank of the lower tier. For example, if you're Platinum 1, you'll go down to Gold 5, and then if you were gold, you would go to silver 5, silver to bronze 5, you get the idea. So theoretically, if you were at platinum 1, in the next season you would end up at gold 5 to start with, which only gave you like 5 ranks worth of rewards. However, if you finished at gold, you would go to silver 5 and you would have more rewards to earn over time during that season. So yeah, it was a very flawed system at launch, and it seems like Konami has been trying to figure out what's best to do. After every ranked duel, you gain experience towards Master Duel's Battle Pass, which in this case is called Duel Pass. Leveling up the pass rewards you with small doses of rarity gems, regular gems, and legacy packs. The pass caps at level 50, well, for the standard pass anyway. You can upgrade this Duel Pass to the Gold Duel Pass by buying at the shop. This Gold Pass caps at level 100. In my opinion, upgrading isn't really worth it. You don't really get that many rewards. I mean, sure, you get twice the amount of rewards for the first 50 levels, but in the Gold Duel Pass, the other 50 levels from 51 to 100, not really worth it in my opinion. Not substantial enough to even cover the cost of the Duel Pass itself. But that's just me. Now, I think this is a part where I start unleashing some of my criticisms. For example, the turn timer is way too generous, reducing the sense of urgency, which means duels tend to take much longer, with you tediously waiting for your opponent to make every single move they want. It doesn't help that the internet connections can be inconsistent at times. The flashing red Wi-Fi signal means there's some sort of connection problem or delay. This is partially to do with the T-sHz itself and how it's evolved over time. Some people jokingly call Yu-Gi-Oh! Anime solitaire. You could go downstairs, go to the toilet, wash your hands, make a sandwich, prepare a drink, go back upstairs, and they'll still be taking their turn. The next point is mainly about the T-sHz meta, but I think it carries over to Master Duels, so it's appropriate to bring up. The T-sHz is an unbalanced spectrum of archetypes. There are some really good decks which will be overused in the ranked match mode. For example, you'll be seeing loads of elaborate combo decks like Code Talkers and Sky Strikers, Galaxy Eyes about building big OTKs, Eldritch for being fucking annoying in general. And that's no surprise really, as the most efficient way of gaining ranks and more rewards is by using the top decks in the game. On top of that, you'll be seeing some overused staple cards, which are included in pretty much every deck, like Ash Blossoms, 3 copies of Max C, Raigeki, Monster Reborn, any of the Solemn Traps, and because of this, matches tend to get kind of repetitive and therefore boring after a while. Now, some of you have probably noticed I said 3 copies of Max C, even though Max C is forbidden to limited in the T-sHz. That's because Master Duel follows an OCG ban list, albeit a few alterations. If I had to give any advice to newcomers to Master Duel or for those creating a new account, make sure you follow the meta as closely as possible and build a meta deck if you want the most enjoyment. I learned the hard way that doing the opposite of this, by investing a majority of my gems in non-tier and rogue decks such as Danger Dark World and Mythical Endymion, you'll end up with not as pleasant of an experience. For casual battles though, there's the free duel room, a lobby where people can create, enter, or spectate in a room to participate in casual matches. If there's one thing I can suggest to Konami is maybe adding additional preferences for online matches. At the moment, you just click duel, you start, and you're a quick match to any player around the world. You know, filtering out the matches by region, or whether the rank is higher, lower, or similar to yours. You know, change some rules a bit, like changing your starting hand size, or how many cards you draw per turn. You know, it will spice up the formula a bit, I think. It'd also help with the internet problems that can occur. As mentioned earlier, you have a profile level, but you can't have one without a profile now. Profiles can be customized with accessories bought or rewarded to you. You can also associate yourself with tags, which can be assigned to your profile to indicate the type of duelist you are. In your profile, you can save up to 10 replays. Replays can be paused and fast forwarded, perhaps the ability to export replays in some sort of file format, so you can save replays on your computer's hard drive for future reference. That'd be quite cool. They also tweaked how recent replays work. They've deleted some in order to save space on the servers for improved performance, which is understandable. Oh yeah, and it wouldn't be a card game without cards, would it? Cards are obtained from opening card packs. Packs are purchasable and redeemable from the in-game store. The shop is also the place to buy and redeem accessories with Master Duel's in-game currency, which is gems. Gems can be bought with real-world money or earned for free by playing as a free-to-play player and completing missions, which is what I've been doing. And yes, I'm a free-to-play player, here's proof. Some people who have bought gems or have considered it say that they're on the expensive side, and I do know some influencers on YouTube and Twitch who have spent hundreds, even thousands of dollars on Master Duel and its contents. I'll be honest, I think the game isn't really worth any more than $30, $40 tops, and the fact people have spent significantly more than that could easily imply they think that Master Duel is worth more money than AAA titles like Red Dead Redemption 2, Nier Automata, Dragon Quest XI, Forza Horizon 5, and so on. I'll be honest, I can't imagine spending that much on one game, but that's just me. So yeah, as a free-to-play player, you earn gems for free the other way, which is by completing missions. There are two types of categories. There's the timed missions, which are up for a limited time, usually until the end of each month, and the unlimited missions, which can be completed anytime you want really, because they're there forever with no time limits or anything like that, and have long-term objectives. So yeah, what about the card packs that you can get from the shop? Well, card packs contain 8 cards, which I believe is less than the average amount of cards you get from actual Yu-Gi-Oh card packs in real life, but that varies depending on set. Oh yeah, and legacy packs and event packs don't contain 8 cards, they usually contain 2 cards. We'll get to them shortly. So yeah, regular card packs can be purchased individually or in sets of 10. The latter guarantees at least one super rare card from the bunch. From what I've seen, there's no option to buy custom quantities like in Hearthstone. For example, if you just wanted 3 packs, you can't do that. You have to buy 1 pack 3 times. So what kind of card packs are there? Well, there are standard packs, which contain a generic assortment of cards. There are secret card packs, which are cards themed around an archetype. They don't shrink the overall card pool by much, but they raise the probability of containing the cards related to the archetypes showcased. The secret card packs appear in the shop after obtaining what's called the secret card pack keys, which are found in the glowing cards when you're opening card packs. These secret card packs will be made available to buy with gems for 24 hours after the key is discovered. If you get the key again from another card pack, the timer resets. Once those 24 hours are up though, that secret card pack disappears from the shop list. To get them back, you'll need to find that key again from opening card packs. Structured decks provide a solid foundation for deck building. I say this because most of the structured decks are a little bit underwhelming, except for maybe the Synchro deck. They do require some adjustments if you intend to dive into ranked play with them. Finally, we get to talk about legacy packs and the legacy pack tickets. The tickets are used to redeem legacy packs. Unlike regular packs, the legacy packs only contain 2 cards in each pack. The legacy packs tend to include cards from older generations of Yu-Gi-Oh! Now you'd think that Konami would compensate for the lower quantity of cards per pack with higher quality pulls, like increased percentage chance of ultra rares appearing, or maybe a stronger card pool in general. Nope. Most of the cards obtained from the legacy packs are pretty much useless. The most frustrating thing about legacy cards is they cannot be dismantled, nor can secret card keys spawn from any of the cards you get from them. But more on dismantling cards later. By far the best transactions in the shop are the bundle deals. They are 10 master packs and a meta-defining ultra rare card included, so you're saving at least 250 gems. They're also worth it just to get cards like Lightning Storm, Ash Blossom, and Solemn Judgment. This leads me to ask about the total amount of cards in Master Duel. There are over 11,000 cards to collect, which in my opinion is a feature which creates a serious dilution problem. By that I mean out of these 11,000 cards, I'd say only 1,000 of these cards, and I've probably been generous with that estimation, 1,000 of these cards see any play in modern Yu-Gi-Oh, whilst the other 10,000 are power crept by other cards, too gimmicky, or just range from below average to garbage. There's always going to be this concern about people with gambling addictions or people who are more susceptible to such addictions. You play for free, you gradually make less and less progress, you earn less and less gems, and before you know it, you've spent your life savings on PNGs of cards. So yeah, the chances of receiving what you want or find at least somewhat useful is very slim. Even when compared to older Yu-Gi-Oh! Video game titles like Legacy of the Duelist, for example. I'm not a huge fan of these gacha-like systems, but I do understand Konami did this to make much higher profits. And you can't expect a game of this quality to be absolutely free. But all I'll say is this. My collection of Yu-Gi-Oh! Cards, any one of them, is worth much more than any of the cards you get in the game. Because yeah, PNG files that can't be used anywhere else other than in Master Duel. Not to mention the fact that Master Duel has to constantly be connected to the internet in order for you to play it. If you're having internet problems, or you're one of the people who doesn't have internet, and yes, those people still exist, then you just can't play it full stop. And one day when the servers close down, all that progress you've made down the drain. Yeah, so Master Duel does definitely go against the whole idea of video game preservation. So yeah, now you've got your cards from the shop, it's now time to construct our deck. You can save up to 20 deck recipes. That excludes the decks you can create for special events, like the first ever event, which was the XYZ festival. This might feel limiting to some players, but for free players who are probably be able to only construct like 2-3 decks tops without spending a single penny, not a huge deal. Building decks is accessible and efficient thanks to the construction screen's layout and options. The library on the right of the screen displays all the possible obtainable cards, or you can just filter them out by the cards you actually own, in Master Duel anyway, not in real life. The filter and search options go even further and are pretty robust. You can sort the cards in ascending or descending order by rarity, most recent cards you've obtained, card level, number owned, not by name though. The filters can help you narrow down results even further, like by rarity, monster type, card type, whether they're forbidden or not. And I think one of the best things is you are able to save deck recipes even if you're missing the necessary cards or haven't reached the 40 cards deck minimum. Adding cards to decks are really easy and well done. You can do so by right-clicking the card in the library to add it to your deck. Choose one of the +1 or -1 buttons on the left side, which shows you the details of the card you're selecting, or you can drag the cards from the library to your deck. Bookmarking is great for saving the desired cards or any important staples that you'll be using frequently. Enter the deck's name, change their protector sleeve that's used in the duel, then there's the battlefield, deck box, and any other accessories. You can do this with each individual deck. So yeah, the deck crafting is pretty solid, but there's just one or two nitpicks I have. Master Duel has its own exclusive currency in the deck crafting mode. For Hearthstone it was dust, and Legends of Runeterra have these little green gems. However, Master Duel is slightly different. Identical to cards, the deck mode's exclusive currency come in 4 rarities: normal, rare, super rare, and ultra rare gems. Separating the deck mode's gems into these 4 categories instead of just leaving it as one, like its competitors, is kind of frustrating, especially when you conduct research on Master Duel websites like Master Duel Meta and check all of the competitive decks. You realize that nearly all of the cards in the good decks anyway are super rares and ultra rares. I'd say at least half in every deck. This could end up devaluing the contents of the packs, since a lot of the packs regularly give you normals and rares. So when you get these normals and rares, rather than saying, how can I use this card, or this might be helpful, you're saying, oh great, more junk, or great, more of a currency I don't want. Dismantling cards gives you gems of that rarity. Dismantling normal cards will give you normal gems. Dismantling super rare cards will give you super rare gems, etc. You cannot dismantle structure deck cards or any cards that were distributed to you via an event or legacy packs. I don't know why, that's just how it goes. Generating cards costs usually 30 gems of its rarity. So that means you are often exchanging 3, seldom 2 materials for 1 card you might actually use, which to me is equivalent to getting rid of 3 of your toes for 1 index finger. Technically more helpful, but that doesn't negate the fact you're getting rid of more of your stuff you got for 1 of something else. The cards you get from card packs can also come in 3 different finishes: standard, glossy, which is identifiable by the silver text and the monster name box, and royal, which has this sort of prismatic pattern all over the card. There are only 2 methods of getting glossy and royal finish cards. The best way is by randomly pulling them from card packs. The only other way is by generating the card over and over and over again until you eventually get either a glossy or a royal. The inability to upgrade or generate cards to glossy or royal finish manually is kind of annoying. And believe me, the chances of getting glossy or royal cards is completely random and usually very slim. In deck crafting, expect to have stockpiles of normal and rare gems you will hardly use, and hardly any super rare and ultra rare gems to craft the cards that will surely help you out more. There's no ability to exchange any of these normal or rare gems for higher rarity gems. These next few sentences are purely speculation, but I think some of these decisions were made intentionally to force players to open more card packs for potentially higher profits. and to further increase a player's obsession with getting the nicer finishes, increasing the chances of spending more money. Who knows? Oh yeah, and as a trading card game, you cannot trade cards with other players. Hell, even Q allows you to do that, and that's a mobile game too. I know I've been pretty negative the last few minutes, so I'll just get to the conclusion, and firstly make one thing perfectly clear. Master Duel is a good game. It functions well, follows the rules well, the AI is incredibly smart in duels, the deck crafting is well organized, the menus are organized, the graphics are good, the music is amazing, and the online is competent, most of the time. Master Duel definitely has the potential to evolve into something great. However, at the time of publishing this video, I would say Master Duel is best experienced by advanced competitive players with a healthy amount of expendable income. Anybody else will have a tougher time enjoying this game, especially the free-to-play market and casual players. Still, I look forward to seeing how the game performs over the next few months. I'll certainly be keeping an eye out on what happens to the game. Let's just hope Konami does well and doesn't fuck things up like they have with other franchises. Until then, I will probably be sticking with Yu-Gi-Oh! Omega, or going back to Legacy the Duelist. But in short, Master Duel is good, just not quite for me. Thanks for watching, and if you didn't watch, then